We are live with our dear friend of the channel, Charlie Robinson. And the question of the evening is, did intelligence block Epstein client list, with a focus on the Mossad, the CIA, the FBI? Charlie Robinson, if you're not familiar, he is the author of his own podcast, Macroaggression, and we've also got the Octopus of Global Control book, which is mind-blowing audiobook I would recommend as well. He's a prolific author. There's other books. I've got his X. I've got all his links in the description box. So please support Charlie's important work. And we've had an array of experts on the subject so far with a variety of opinions. So I'm going to be fascinated to hear what our friend Charlie has to say. I mean, is this upside down land, my friend, like Candace Owens described?
Well, I'm glad that people are talking about Jeffrey Epstein, even if they're mad about there not being a big data dump. I don't know what they expected, because whoever controls those files, be it Jeffrey Epstein, the FBI, Mossad, whoever has the files has the power. So they're not going to voluntarily give up their power. I think that there was an unrealistic expectation from the community that there was going to be some big database spreadsheet that was going to come out, and you're going to be able to look through it and find your favorite person on there and say, see, they were in this network. The truth is, I mean, the files, air quotes, and the lists they exist already. I mean, you can read Whitney Webb's book, One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 2, and find a great network of co-conspirators. You can find Epstein flight logs. I mean, the information is out there, but so I recognize that it's a salacious topic, and it makes for amazing headlines. And anytime you're talking about trafficking children, underage girls mostly, but children in general, it's disgusting and gross. And we need to talk about it. But my big hope is that it doesn't get left at just a guy who is running sexual blackmail entrapment operations, because as you and I both know, Jeffrey Epstein was so much more than that. And the other areas of expertise that he was involved in are equally interesting and just as disturbing. And what you find is that this guy had his fingers in everything. So,
just want to read this quote from Assange. The reason the FBI wouldn't let the Epstein client list come out in court is because if they did, the blackmail would no longer be useful, and the CIA would lose control over all the powerful people they spent decades setting up. What are your thoughts on that, Charlie?
That's it. That's the answer. It's so valuable. The PR nightmare, who cares? Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino, they can take the fall for it. They're disposable people. That's what they're brought in for. They're cutouts that are going to get recycled through this. They'll pin all this on them. But in the end, Assange is correct that there's no reason, there's no benefit for them to release all this information, because it appears that the information does not have an expiration date on it. It's one thing if you're cheating on your wife, or if you're a closeted homosexual and this information comes out. Well, it comes out and then you're outed and you're embarrassed and you go through the ringer, and then you come out the other side and nobody really cares all that much. But if it's child related, then they've got you. They've got you for as long as they need you, and they'll make you dance forever. And so a guy like Epstein puts people in situations. So client list, I mean, I don't even know what that means necessarily, because he invited a ton of people to his island for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it was fun with physics. It was a bunch of scientist nerds that he would get there, and then they'd magically get lucky with some girl, right? When they never could in the rest of their lifetime. They just magically, this girl wants to give them a massage. So he entrapped a lot of people, but I don't know that I would call it like a client list necessarily. I mean, it could be a list of people who are victims, but in order to be one of Jeffrey Epstein's quote clients, you can't possibly be that much of a victim. You might be one of his victims, but you're no victim yourself, because by the fact that he's got the goods on you, you are engaging in some criminal behavior that you don't want people to know about. So there are no good guys in this situation, and it encompasses the entire octopus of Washington, D.C., and London and Tel Aviv. And there's a lot of people under its control, and it's not just politicians, and it's not just bankers.
And do you think this guy that's on the screen is still being protected?
Yeah. Yeah.
What a-
This is and we could talk about Epstein's role in starting the Clinton Global Initiative. That's a huge money laundering operation that was stealing tons of money. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm just grateful that people know that there are Epstein-esque figures that exist out there, and that's how a lot of politics actually gets done. When people are starting to, they ask like, why is the government so broken? Well, because they bring in corrupted people who are broken themselves and put them in positions of high power, but only after they've been compromised properly. And so they're not acting like bad people accidentally. This is in their nature. And I think there's an assumption with the general public that, oh, the best and brightest will go to Washington to get the job done. And it's like, no. The people who are drawn to power the most. And who are those? Psychopaths? Yeah, sociopath. I mean, you can look at the percentages, and it shows that in that Beltway region of Washington, D.C., in the area, disproportionately high numbers of psychopaths. Not surprising. That industry gives them all the things that they need. And I saw that comment go across that the Clinton Global Initiative was involved in Texas. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Like missing kids, like there was in Haiti. So this is how it happens. They traffic children through NGOs, through groups that they control, that are sort of public-private partnerships. They go into disaster areas and set up there as a way to offer relief and help. And this isn't limited to the Clinton Global Initiative. I mean, the United Nations has a long string of rapes. Everywhere they go in to help out, they wind up leaving a ton of victims. So this is what they've done. They do this everywhere they go, and they use these groups as a cover to traffic children. And in the height of a disaster, when there's chaos and communication lines are broken down, you don't know how many kids are supposed to be in Haiti until Laura Silsby from the Clinton Foundation gets busted crossing the line of the border into the Dominican Republic with a bunch of kids, and gets put in jail. And Bill Clinton has to fly out there on a private jet and get her released by himself. So there's trafficking going on. Epstein knew this. He was involved in it. His partners were Bill Clinton. He set up the Clinton Global Initiative. Follow those leads, like go from there. And I think most people will be disturbed, but unfortunately not surprised at what goes on, the criminality that goes on inside all of our governments.
So, viewers, if you've got any questions, we're live with Charlie Robinson. Please put your questions in the chat, and please support Charlie at his links. And I think this question here from Trevor kind of encompasses the frustration many people are feeling with Bondi, Patel, and the whole crew, because they were so emphatic about releasing this information. I mean, for years they've been talking about it. Trevor's saying, why did Trump go on record and clearly state he released a list of names connected with Jeffrey? So for them to just do this massive about turn, people are tearing the hair out, even hardcore Trump supporters who are relying on this information coming forth. There's all kinds of theories floating around. I've been watching Luke, Tim Pool. We had Lionel on. We had Professor Hamamoto on. Hamamoto thinks it's some kind of ninja strategy that Trump is employing to maintain the value of the files. Others just think that Trump has been told by the deep state this is how it's going to be. Like Putin said, these presidents come in idealistic, and when the guys with the briefcases and the suits show up, they're told how it's going to be, and it just changes overnight. So what do you think, Charlie, about all of the various theories floating around?
I would love to be optimistic and think that this is part of some elaborate plan by Donald Trump to hold on to the leverage of this file. I tend to lean more towards Putin's description of how things really play out. I mean, they show you this is the agenda. There's some things I think you have latitude to kind of do this way or that way. I think maybe when Trump says, he's going to clearly, he's going to release the names, maybe he means it. I mean, I don't know, but let's just say he did. He means it. You can talk about it all day long, but at some point you're going to get the real the way it's really going to go down. And the men with the briefcases visit you. Actually, it's the men with the black hats and the long beard who all stand around the president's desk and pose for pictures. Every administration where there's 15 of them and they all look exactly the same, and we all know who I'm talking about. Those are the guys that come in and tell you you're not releasing that, because if you do, here are the consequences. Maybe they need to spell it out. Maybe they don't. I think their reputation precedes them. There are certain things that you have the flexibility to talk about, and there are others that you don't. And who Jeffrey Epstein was working with and the information that he compiled over the years is extremely valuable. And we know which country was behind him. I mean, we know which countries, plural, were behind him. And so my assumption is that, who's to say that there's only one so-called file too? I mean, if I'm Jeffrey Epstein and I've got this file that's worth a bunch of money, and I've got Bill Gates and he's compromised, and I say to him, want to buy a file? You want to buy a copy of the file in case you need it in the future for all your, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Gavi stuff, all the climate stuff you're doing. You want to have a life, an insurance policy? I'll sell it to you for $1 billion. I mean, you don't think that? I mean, I'm of the belief that this file may exist in multiple locations. So, I mean, but it is like a bomb. Okay. There is no sense diffusing the bomb after it already goes off. You can out these people who are involved in it, but once you do, you have used your bomb. Okay. And then after that, you've got to go back to the drawing board and get more compromising information on people. Maybe a calculation has been made that we don't need Jeffrey Epstein's anymore. With the technology that we have, I mean, we can make it look like anything. I mean, with AI and this and that, I don't need to get you on film doing this. I can just make a video that looks exactly like you are doing it, send it to all the wrong people, have it secretly leak as a file that, got leaked out from the Epstein thing. And next thing you know, you're cooked. I mean, they can do this digitally right now without you even needing to be compromised. So we're in a whole new era. I think that my concern with Bill Gates's relationship to Jeffrey Epstein is less about little girls and more about eugenics, because these guys were working on something. And Jeffrey Epstein donated $30 million to Harvard, to Martin Nowak, to finance evolutionary dynamics and population game theory. So he's working on computer simulation programs that show what happens when you insert variables into the population, like viruses and things like that. And he's funding these guys at Harvard while he's simultaneously running some operation in New Mexico at Zorro Ranch. And so we get, come for the sexual blackmail entrapment, stay for the depopulation. This guy was up to no good on a variety of fronts, not just the least of which selling arms and running Ponzi schemes and partnering with Les Wexner and Southern Air Transport and all the various things that he was doing. But on top of all of that, his late in life pivot towards being involved in eugenics and depopulation programs is probably the scariest.
Indeed. Ray J is asking if it is part of a plan, can Trump's credibility last long enough to play it out?
It's a good question. It's a good question. If it is, if he is sort of playing this role, I don't know. He better get to it. I mean, if I'm Trump, I'm not buying green bananas. You know what I mean? Like he's a danger. He's a danger to this group in some respects. I mean, he's controllable for sure by certain people, but also kind of a wild card. I think they would prefer him to be out of the way. And so when you're Trump and you've already got a bunch of people that don't like you, maybe you don't add to your woes by getting on the wrong side of the black hat crew, because you know what'll happen. I mean, you just know what will happen. You and your entire family will blow up in an airplane accident or something like that. This is just, he can fool himself if he wants to, but I think a calculation has been made for his own personal safety that this information just really can't go out. I mean, and I'd love, like I said, I'd love to indulge myself in the fantasies that this is 4D chess and that he's walking them into some trap. And I hope that is the case, right? I would love to be massively wrong about that, but I just don't I just think that he's making a calculation to stay alive at this point.
So a lot of people are asking about the timing of the meeting with Netanyahu, the Peace Prize nomination, etc. And, you know, perhaps this ties into what we were going to talk about with the Mossad.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, you know, that Netanyahu likes to bring his dirty laundry when he comes to the White House and have them do it for him. That's a little inside scoop on his visits, just as an additional act of subservience. You know, when the boss comes to town, you got to shine his shoes. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is one of the most dangerous people on the planet right now. He is deeply involved in an ongoing genocide. He is desperate to start World War III for no other reason than to keep himself out of prison or worse. And he is trying to suck the United States into an unwinnable war in Iran in order to fight their enemies, not ours. And I can tell you from the ground here in the United States, there is zero appetite for this from Americans. Nobody wants a part of this. Like you can feel however you want about the Muslim community, but there's still very little interest in an attack. And in fact, on the contrary, it's becoming obvious to just about everybody who's really in control of the American government, almost to an extent where you feel like maybe they want you to know because it's so obvious. And, you know, the boss comes to town and then he brings this cheap flattery of let's get Trump some sort of honor for stopping the war that he was instrumental in financing, supplying, and starting and running logistics for, if not outright participating in. You know what I mean? It's just it's perfect. Actually, it's perfect for the American empire. It's Donald Trump starts a war, then stops it, then gives himself the Nobel Peace Prize. I love it. It's so perfectly MAGA. I can't even stand it.
So do you think the ceasefire is just a charade? It's just a reload opportunity?
Yeah.
And that Israel realized they bit off more than they could chew with the dome getting penetrated and, you know, think bombs landing on major structures in Israel for the first time in a long time. And that regime change is the ultimate objective.
Yeah. Yes to all of that. I think that they are reloading. They have to. I think that they're going back to the drawing board. You can say what you want about the Israelis. They are smart. They will figure out a flaw in the plan, or if they believe that it benefits them to hit Iran 5 times harder than Iran hits them, they will do that without hesitation. I think a big flaw, an Achilles heel of the Israeli defense has been exposed, though, with these